This is the Last Supper before Doug's crucifixion? Is this Scooby Mike? I hope not. Eat honey, be happy. Hey, are you a honey farmer, a bee farmer? 1,000 pine points to you for being here first. Reed, you get nothing. Martin van der Kuiji. 500 pine points to you. And Ruben Cohen, take me to your leader. 250 pine points to you. This is Theist Thursday call in. I don't think there's theists out there who are brave enough to call in, except for Darth Dawkins, but he's oh, is this a miracle? Let me see here. Who do we got? Alonzo. I remember Alonzo. That was quick. Alonzo, you're quick. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Pine?
I'd say about 8 3/4.
Oh, okay. Well, so about a year or so ago, you put out like 20 things that, like Christians or apologists have trouble admitting.
Yeah.
And so one of those things I thought was interesting, and I'm not quite sure it's right. Basically, it was that the best reason to be a Christian is to basically avoid hell. Okay. And I was thinking about it, and I was going, you know what? Let's just say for a moment that we take heaven and hell off the table.
I like where this is going.
Huh?
I like this. I like where this is going.
Okay. So does Christianity have anything to offer if true? And I think so.
I agree. I agree with you.
So for example, there's, having a connection with God,
Okay, but why is that good, though? Why is that good?
This is based on my experience. It's good because God does guide you according to Christianity, according to that. So
He will guide you? Is that what you said?
God guides you.
Guide you to make proper decisions?
Wisdom in particular, yeah.
Do we see evidence of that Christians are more wise than non-Christians?
I think it depends on where you look, but yeah, I think so. So there's basically two types of religiosity, okay? It's extrinsic and intrinsic religiosity, okay? And what people have found is that if you basically lump all religious people together, they're roughly about average. But what you do instead is that basically you divide it into people who are extrinsically religious, people who do things, because, hey, it's a great community, hey,
okay, I hear what you're saying.
What we get out of it.
I think I hear what you're saying, but if we were to take the best true Christians, the sincerest, and put them in a pool of people, and then take the best, sincere, kind, compassionate, loving Muslims, Hindus, secularists, do you think we would still see the Christians win out?
I don't believe that the studies did various religions, but okay. So let's say for a moment that it's any religion. Let's say Muslims get the same intrinsic religious benefit. Okay, from my perspective, at the least, okay, that the reason that they're getting them is because they're actually connecting with God. They are wrong about who God is and how you basically reach him, for lack of a better word, but they're still connecting with the actual God.
So when you connect with the actual God, you're more likely to be guided in wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would think that if that were true, Christians would make less mistakes.
So, like I said, there's the extrinsic, which basically
I understand. I understand
the social, versus the intrinsic. We're doing it because this thing itself is valuable.
I understand. You got to be the right, proper type of Christian.
When you look at the studies, the people who are intrinsically religious do perform better than people who are just religious.
But that religiosity could be in any religion. In that study, correct?
Yeah, in that study, yes.
Okay. So then really the issue is having probably some type of community, some type of belief system that coalesces people.
And that's the thing, though, okay, is that people who are extrinsically religious are still, in the community, and that community is actually why they're religious,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate your thoughts. That's been 5 minutes. I want to try to keep it down to 5 minutes per person.
Totally. Hey, it was great talking to you. I'll see you later.
Bye. Okay. Take care. Yeah. My thoughts on that is I don't think we see evidence that Christians do better in any metric compared to the same type of person, let's say, brought up in the same socioeconomic class, has the same advantages or disadvantages as opposed to Muslims, Hindus, Mormons, atheists. There's going to be people who make bad, poor decisions in every group. Seems like, in my opinion, the Holy Spirit doesn't help. Look at Ravi Zacharias. Didn't help him, did it? Oof. Doug, why'd you have to bring up Ravi Zacharias? He was a false teacher. He was a false whatever. Hey, I want to bring up something here. I think many of you have seen this. Church membership among U.S. adults now below 50%. You're welcome. That's all I wanted to say. You're welcome. Church membership is it's all because of me, right? No, it's not all because of me. Church membership is an important metric to look at, because when you're a church member, and I think this holds true in many different religions, you're the ones who are kind of obligatory to give money, to give your tithes, to be consistent in that. And when you see church membership drop below 50%, that tells you churches are dying, that churches are closing, that churches no longer have enough moolah to pay the utility bills. Why did I say you're welcome? Maybe this is a bad thing that church membership is going down, because now where are people going to find this hope, meaning, and purpose? Maybe they're just going to walk aimlessly on the streets of their cities, not knowing what to do. Oh, Travis Statham says the Capturing Christianity stream is 150% cringe. Oh, yes. They had the A. Lincolnist on again. Let me bring that up just so you guys know. I want to make a point about this. They didn't get very many viewers. But my point is, if you want to know where their insecurities are, watch this. Watch this video. The apologetic empire, their insecurities are when you dirty atheists say things like, we're reasonable and they're not. We're rational and you're not. If you look at the satire that they're doing, you can see where they feel bad inside. Thomas Paine. If you want to know where their insecurities are, you're on. You got to turn off your. There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Got it.
How are you doing, Thomas? I hope it's okay. I'm showing your face to the world.
Yeah, I don't care. Actually, this is not. I'm not a theist, so I don't know if you want to take this call. But I do have a question I've always wondered about.
Okay.
A lot of Christian theology.
Okay.
If God is all knowing and he has all this knowledge and he is responsible for all this profound moral progressivism, one, why does God always match the culture he's around as far as morals go? And two, why can't, if you're a true believer and you have this connection with God, then why do you have to study anything to be good at anything if God can give you this knowledge? So I've always wondered, like, why aren't there just Christians that don't go to med school that are great doctors? Regardless if you believe in faith healing at all.
Yeah, those are good questions. I think not only does it span different cultures, but it spans different personality types. Even within Christianity, depending on how you were raised and your, I think, innate personality type, you will lean to a certain theology. If you're a very kind and bleeding heart liberal type compassionate person, oh, you're going to love universalism. And if you're a justice guy, you're going to love wanting people to go to hell, and you're going to laugh at them and how dare you mock my God. Whereas some Christians, oh, you can mock all you want, doesn't matter, I love you. And yeah, so that's a very good observation, which I think any person who's just looking and seeing around the world what's happening should say, maybe we've created God in our image instead of the other way around. And as far as your knowledge point, you're right. I think like prophets apparently had knowledge that nobody else did directly because of God, because of the Holy Spirit. And so if prophets can have this direct knowledge, why can't medical surgeons? God guiding the scalpel to the right spot. And
right.
Some people believe that, I think.
Some people do believe it, but it's weird because prophets have this knowledge, and it does seem very vague and very like fortune cookie knowledge about morals and how we should live our life, but nothing empirical. Like, hey, there's an antibiotic that would help so many people. This is where you find it from this organism in this spot of the geographic world. Just nothing very detailed.
Well, they try sometimes, but they fail. Like with the COVID thing, there was many prophets in quotes who said that, oh, this virus is going to be killed out and die out in so and so many months, and that never happened.
Yeah. I mean, they make statements and claims like that, but nothing to say how is COVID going to be defeated and what they're going to do. It's always in the realm of some magical thing that's just going to Thanos it and it's going to stop, but never like,
how dare you, Thomas?
God is going to use you through you, and he's going to use physical means. Let's just take miracles off the table. It would still be in his power to say, okay, X chemical would do the trick. Yeah. But he can't do that.
But God did prophesy and didn't tell people that Israel would become a nation again. So checkmate, Thomas Paine.
Yeah, the nation of Canaan that was already Canaan, full of Canaanites and Jews at the same time. Yeah, sure. Yeah, he did that.
And God also said there'd be false prophets and teach bad things, and that there'd be wars and rumored wars and famines and droughts. Checkmate again.
He did do a good job of hedging all of his bets.
So what's your story? You're an atheist?
Yeah.
For how long?
I grew up Pentecostal.
Oh, so you spoke in tongues?
Oh yeah.
Can you still do it?
My first speaking in tongues, I think I was 8. It was naka 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 naka.
And then you evolved to more complex.
Yeah, you just use other syllables and you get a little.
Can we hear a little bit, or do you have to be in the? Do I have to play worship music?
Oh no, it's just kuna masatiti kana pototo batatati kasana ma ha ha ha.
I like the ending. Ha ha ha. That's great. Okay. Well, thanks, Thomas Paine, for hopping on and asking those great questions.
Take it easy.
That was really good. Always, whenever I hear someone's an ex-Pentecostal, I like to show that you can be an atheist, leave Pentecostalism, and still speak in tongues. While we're waiting for Theist to get the courage to come on, I'll read some questions from the live stream chat. Wow, so many new people on chat. Yes, Joe D, you've been gone for a while. I forgive you. Do you think Ravi's Jesus was partial to massagers? Yeah, I guess if Ravi created God in his own image, then Jesus loved a good massage. Oof. That's definitely mocking. Yeah, I would love to talk to Greg Boyd or Pete Enns. I would basically ask him, like, why do you need this? Especially Pete Enns. He doesn't believe hardly anything in the Bible. Is that true, Pete Enns, if you ever hear this? Do you really believe? What do you believe that's in the Bible? Good to see you here, Fred Harvey. Yeah, what was I saying about the whole membership thing? Yeah, maybe it's bad if membership in the United States is going down in religious institutions and they haven't found a replacement for it. But think about all the money they're saving. If someone is actually giving approximately 10% to a specific church, which a lot of churches ask for or hint towards, boy, you free up a lot of excess cash here now. You can still speak in tongues. Hey, Reed, if you're still here, I'm gonna try something different today. If you have, I only want Reed to answer this, but if you want to send me a link to what you think is an appropriate playlist, I know you must have a playlist. I'm gonna play music in the background, and then if people don't like it, they can blame you. Thank you, David Gora, for the donation. For the last 9 months, your channel has helped me with my own deconversion. Thank you. Well, you're very welcome, David Gora. I hope that your deconversion has gone well and hasn't been too rough in terms of family and friends and fears and anxieties. I know it can be. But if you are just on the edge right now listening, just let you know it's okay. This shall pass. These nerves, anxieties will pass. And rest easy in the confidence that I have that there is no hell. The worst that could happen is you just miss out on heaven. And that's not so bad. It's more about the pain, not the pleasure, right? It's more about the stick, not the carrot. How are the Mormons doing? I don't think they break it out according to age. The old farts are still going to church. The younglings are leaving en masse. Republicans tend to stay in church more than Democrats. It's probably because of what they value, traditions more than new ideas, I guess. Well, they do talk about Hispanics. Oh, wow. Hispanics and Roman Catholics are really leaving fast and hard. Bishop Robert Barron, what's your problem? Roman Catholics are leaving. Protestants have dropped 9 points since 2018. Percentage points. Catholics have dropped 18. But the Catholic Church is the true church. It's the first one. The Protestants just came around a couple hundred years before Mormonism. It's like a new and improved version, I guess. I guess the old tradition is dying out. If you live in the East, on the East Coast, you're more likely to leave church members, stop being a church member. Midwest is, the South is hanging in there the best, but they still drop 16 percentage points. Thank you for the donation, Fred Harvey. It's okay, Doug. I'm all atheist. I enjoy your hubris, and you always mock it yourself straight after. Yes. Hubris, for the people in South Dakota, means arrogance. I pride myself in my humility, though. Conservatives are hanging in to church membership better than liberals, 14 to 21. Oh, yeah, if you're not married, odds are you're going to leave the church. You got to get married, settle down, have some kids. Now, this is interesting. College graduates are more likely to remain in church membership than a non-college graduate. That's because college graduates are smarter, right? No, I think it's because college graduates understand the value in community. That's why you'll see very high educated people still go to church and not believe 80% of what the pastor's saying, but they still go. Although they probably go to a church where it's a progressive pastor, where anything goes. This is my moth symbol. Martin Vanderkooj. I don't know how to say your last name. It still feels strange and uncomfortable to realize how I did believe for 47 years and that it turns out to be false. 47 years, folks. For me, it was only about 30. My Roomba just started. I got to turn it off. See, God can't start my Roomba, but my app can. If you're an apologist or a pastor, please feel extra welcome to call in. I will warn you, though, I'll be a little tougher on you. I won't hold any punches. I'll be cordial and nice, but I will ask maybe more pressing questions. If you're just a Joe Blow, Jill Blow Christian, just an everyday love Jesus type Christian, I'll be much easier on you. I promise. I'll be like a little teddy bear. If you're a pre-sup, you're welcome to join, unless you're Darth Dawkins. But if you are a pre-sup and you want to join, I want you to steel man my position first before you come on. I mean, when you come on, that's the first thing I want you to do. I want you to tell me what you think I think are the preconditions for intelligibility, the foundations for logic, morality, all these things. And if you can't even guess or make any guesses on that, then you haven't even begun to understand the foundations of your own. Give it to me straight, Doug, says Shane Olson. Is there any beating the PineCreek theorem? No, the PineCreek theorem is pretty solid. It doesn't happen to everyone, of course, but I tell you, having that loved one in your life is a big incentive, a big motivator. Are you nice to baby Christians? Oh, yes, Vera. I'm very nice to baby Christians. I can speak baby Christian language because I'm a baby myself. You look at me and what do you think? You see babiness. Did you stay a Christian longer than you wanted because your wife was a believer, or did you not take that into? Yeah, probably. It's not consciously, but I think I stayed a Christian for so long because of the sunk cost. Like when you're a believer for decades, some of you atheists can't relate to this, but when you're a believer for decades, you've invested so much of your time, energy into this belief that just to cast it away is, number one, to admit that you made a huge mistake, that you maybe were lied to. These are not comfortable feelings. It makes you hurt inside. And my wife did cry, was very disappointed, still is. So it's very tough to hurt someone you love. But for Christians listening, think about the opposite. Think about if I were to say to my wife, it hurts me that you go to church. It hurts me you go to Bible studies. Stop it. You're hurting me. Not for 1 second would Christians say, Doug, that's not fair. You should not say that to your wife. You should not use that type of psychological manipulation with your wife. I agree. But then the reverse is also true. Happy Easter, Doug. Doug, it's been difficult, says L. Johnny 22. Everything I believed fell apart. I understand. It's very difficult. But like all things, just like when the human body goes through extreme physical pain, like exercise, I used to run half marathons. My best time was an hour 26, which is pretty good, by the way, for 13.1 miles. It would take up to a week to heal from that. And that's just a 1 to 2 hour running. Can you imagine spending decades of your life believing something? It's not gonna be easy or quick. It'll take time. Ransom Kicker says, I recently discovered that I'm living proof of the PineCreek theorem. Oh, really? Did a beautiful young lady lead you into Christianity? Or did a handsome young man? What would be your answer if you found out that God is real and you are going to hell? What would be my answer to what's the question? If I found out that God is real and you're going to hell, My guess is if I truly believed that, I would think I would have sufficient evidence to believe that. I still would think that this deity set up a horrible system, that you would need some type of eternal threat, if that's what hell's defined as. So it'd be very hard for me to worship such a deity. But like anyone else, I don't want to, if it's true, I don't want to be in pain forever. But if C.S. Lewis is right, then really I'll like hell. It's locked from the inside, and who wants to go out? Nobody, because it's fun. Have you polled the theist viewers that don't call in on why they don't call in? I think most people just don't want to show their face, number one, and I prefer they show their face. And I think a lot of theists avoid channels like this because they got everything to lose and not much to gain. They will view me as a lost cause. They will view me as not a good evangelical candidate. So why waste your time to talk to me? I think that's how a lot of Christians and theists would think. But my answer to that is, it's fun, it's entertaining. Maybe I will agree with something that you said. In fact, we just had a Christian on, and I think I agreed with at least one thing he said. God told me to tell you, hey, Doug. I'm Asian and my community has been persecuted greatly this past year. Sorry to hear that. Because of COVID? Can a follower of the Flying Man call in? Well, technically, the Flying Man is a theistic religion, so I would say yes. Oh, yeah, I promise not to show another video of Dr. Andrew Loke, but I did listen to some of what he said in a debate with Nabir, what's his name? Shabir Ali? That sounds too much like the movie Aladdin. What was it? I'll find it. Yeah, Shabir Ali. Prince Ali. And what's interesting is hearing a Muslim debate a Christian on the evidence for the resurrection is 80% of the time, the Muslim sounds just like an atheist. Do people in general from a religious to secular believe or need a delusion, even a delusion as simple as optimism bias? I think so, Thomas Paine. I think fantasy is always better than reality. And I think we evolved with these ideas of religion, gods, to help us cope, to help us survive. And it works. It definitely worked for my sister. Do you do this every Thursday? Not every Thursday, but I'd say at least one Thursday a month, and probably closer to two. I'm usually at work when you do your show. Otherwise, I would call in and talk. Yeah, Franklin, you've been here. Franklin is a Christian, I believe, who has been watching me for, I think, 2 years now. And I think I've blocked Franklin very early on. We talked about it via email, and then I unblocked him. And I think that's right. And we've been cordial to each other ever since. I think we understand each other. I think there's things I appreciate about him and things that he appreciates about me. So I'd love to talk to you. I am not comfortable having only observational evidence about the alleged emergence of consciousness from material. I would need proof for this, which is lacking. Thus, I search for a different model. Only observational evidence. By observational, do you mean empirical? And if so, what's so bad about empirical evidence? This is my question I often ask about, would you rather spend an hour meditating on Jesus through his word? Or would you rather spend an hour talking to Jesus as he was in the first century today? And I get highly suspicious when a Christian tells me they'd rather spend an hour in his word. And that question gets to the difference between empirical evidence and whatever other type of intertestimony of the Holy Spirit type evidence. By answering that question, the Christian is admitting they do value empirical evidence more if they rather spend that hour with Jesus in the flesh. Thank you for the donation, Thomas Payne. What's more threatening, dogma, CRT or traditional religion? I think right now it's CRT. Please explain why. Because I think CRT silences certain evidence and espouses and elevates and amplifies the experiences of some which might not be good evidence for anything. In other words, it's a feel sorry forness type religion that blames society for maybe people's own personal failings. So when a black person says, oh, I didn't get hired because I'm black, well, maybe just because you're stupid. That's another reasonable explanation. Too much? Too much truth? The truth hurts. There's a lot of black people who are stupid, and there's a lot of white people who are stupid. Maybe you didn't get a job because you're stupid and not qualified. Now, if you're qualified and you don't get the job, and it's true that you didn't get the job because you have too much shades in your skin, then I'm all with you. I'm for you. That's bad. And we have laws against that. But your personal experiences, your lived, shared experiences as a minority, I personally think is basically not much different than your lived and shared experiences as a Christian. The attribution, you got to be very careful about. There's some funny things in the chat that I'm not going to read. Yeah, CRT stands for critical race theory. But of course, I just don't understand critical race theory. I'm not a believer. I'm not a follower of critical race theory, so there's no way I could understand it fully. I don't think people who even call themselves critical race theorists understand it fully. By the way, there's a lot of Christians who view me as an ally on this topic. I don't do that just to be an ally. I do it because I believe that it's dangerous. Hair of Voltaire, PineCreek, I've seen the light. I'm going to convert to Christianity. The argument from future coitus got me the most. Yeah, that's the PineCreek theorem. It's another way of saying it's the argument from future coitus. I have a short video on that. By the way, for the people in the Midwest, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Panhandle, Texas, all the southern states, maybe even Indiana, Idaho, Ohio, Minnesota. I know some of you are a little slow. I have, you're farm kids. I understand. You're farm kids, and you spend a lot of time in the tractor listening to country music and sticking your head out the window and crying. I get that. But I do have playlists, and I do have description boxes that you can click on. So a lot of your questions can be answered. A lot of the videos that you haven't seen are there that talk about a lot of the questions you have. I love farm kids. Don't get me wrong. I used to be a person who sat in a John Deere tractor and a Versatile 700. Four-wheel drive. You kids out there don't even know how to drive. I've driven big machinery. What do we got here? Hey, can you turn off your YouTube tab? Hey, what's your first name? What's your first name? Oh, he left. You guys didn't hear any of that, correct? Careful with expressing kid love. Oh, that's right. Oh, my bad. I said I love farm kids. See, to me, like a 25-year-old's a kid, so I got to be careful. But yeah, some people think I'm talking about minors. Not coal miners, but I've driven a Lamborghini tractor. Well, yeah, those are expensive. Yeah, you couldn't hear, and that's good. You should not have heard what that guy said. That's our friendly neighborhood N-word guy. I've gotten wise over the months. So if you're a theist, don't be shy. Call in. You can ask me a question, or I can ask you a question. We can ask each other questions. We can just make comments back and forth. You can call me irrational for not believing in a God. Hello, can you hear me? Brother. Does your wife tune into the show? That's a good question. Luke, I think she's maybe watched one or two, but no. I know my parents, my dad has watched one or two shows, but I think it hurts too much for family to watch me on the YouTubes. Yeah, no more Mario Kart Kid. No, Vera. Someone called in and did say something, but I didn't let you hear it because I'm a squasher of free speech. Trust me, you didn't miss anything. It was our friendly neighborhood troll. Doug, how long did it take you to begin to feel at peace when you walked away from Christianity? I want to say pretty quickly. Christians are going to love this terminology, but when you leave Christianity, a part of you feels born again. If you feel relieved, the struggles are gone of forcing yourself to believe this. The cognitive dissonance has gone from like a 9 down to a 1. So I would say pretty quick, maybe a matter of weeks, days. Matt Metru, thank you for the donation. Minnesotan atheist here. There are dozens of us. Yes. Yeah, there's nothing better than a cold atheist. When is Christianity going to die out? Never, I think. It's just going to evolve. I think some versions of Christianity is going to evolve to this progressive type Christianity where you just believe, like you just throw away the text basically, or most of it. Some of it's evolving to the really highly compassionate and lovey-dovey type Christians are finding critical race theory attractive because it helps them justify maybe feeling sorry for people. Irresistible truth. Hey, Derek, did you want to come in? Do you have a schedule for your shows or just when you have time? I usually do it when I just have time because this is not my job. This is just a hobby. I can't jump on right now, but would like to in the future. Well, if you want to just jump on for 5 minutes, you can. I'm sure you got 5 minutes. If you're at work, just tell me you'd have to go for a latrine break. You're a former military guy, right? Just say you got to go to the loo, got to go to the latrine. Well, no, then that would be lying. Or you could pee in a bottle while you talk to me. Then it's not lying. No, I don't think we want to hear a pee stream on air. So it'd be like this sound here. Yeah, you guys can't hear that. And who knows, you might make weird expressions when you're peeing. Like, an interview from the bathroom would not be very professional. I don't know. What's worse, talking to someone, interviewing someone while they're eating or while they're peeing? While they're ingesting or outgesting? What if they find life outside of Earth? What will religion think? Great question, B. Guzman. I actually hope that there's life outside of Earth. That'd be very exciting news. But I think for some conservative branches of religion, that will cause problems, especially in Christianity. Because then, do they need a savior? I'll pee in a bottle on the show. You're becoming a regular Howard Stern. Hey, that's a compliment. Howard Stern is probably the most successful talk show guy on the planet, is he not? Is he still? He's on Sirius Satellite Radio, right? And he's still going strong. I wish I got paid $200 million a year to interview people. No longer worrying about the soul of my children is nice. Yes, I agree. And my children, especially my daughter, no longer has anxiety attacks or is worried about going to hell. I think she finally got over that. Dan the Meek, as Christianity evolves, do you think there will ever be a Bible 2.0 or a newer testament added to the deal? You know what? That's a great question. I think we have evolved as a species that like a Scientology couldn't repeat itself. I don't think we could. Well, no, maybe I'm just talking about the United States. There's countries today that are making up stuff. And that religion, what is it? The Mother of God cult. Didn't that just start in the 60s? But I think it would still be very tough because of the internet to start a new religion like that. Oh, yeah, I've seen the show where they interview Hot Wings. Thank you for the donation again, Thomas. My favorite argument that God is a jerk against God is love. We have free will in heaven while not suffering. What's yours? Yeah, that's a great point. So many times the problem of evil, the problem of suffering is solved by Christians by saying, well, we have to have free will and men make free will choices that cause harm. But at the same time, they believe that there's free will in heaven and there's no harm. And then they get around that by saying, well, in heaven, you could do bad things, but you just don't have it. You don't have a desire to do bad things in heaven because everything's so perfect. Well, then why couldn't God make earth that way is my response. But what's my favorite argument? That God's a jerk? He drowned the whole world except for one family, according to one version of Christianity. Even according to other more sanitized versions of Christianity, he drowned the whole area just to spite them. I mean, because they were half demons, right? That's why God did it. Yeah, they were half demons. And God allowed demons to mate with women, human women, and they created the Nephilim. Is that how it works? There's so many like horrible stories. But even Jesus, vicarious redemption, atonement theories, it makes God look like a jerk and a schmuck. Calvinism. You can't get more schmuckish. There's a good word, schmuckish. You can't get more schmuckish than Calvinism. Still no theist callers? We've had one right now who wants to call in, but is nursing upon your heart right now that you need to talk to PineCreek. But everything inside you, the natural man, the natural woman inside you is screaming, no, don't do it. This atheist is going to make a clip of you later that's going to make you look stupid. No, I won't. I might make a clip of what just happened as a teaser to see the full thing. But if you tell me, hey, I don't want you to make any clips, I'll probably honor that. I did that for Blake Giunta. He asked me that. And then I did make a small clip of him, but I got his permission first. Doug, what is your best reply to the fine-tuning argument? Great question, John Thyke. Is God limited to natural constants? Is the all-powerful God of the universe limited in the fine-tuning parameters? Or could he make the fine-tuning anything he wants and still have intelligent life, sentient life? The answer is yes. Then the fine-tuning argument goes out the window. I think it's as simple as that. And people spend hours debating this topic. I'm talking to you, Luke Barnes. And it really is not more complicated than that. you basically are saying God could not have made intelligent life in any other way other than having the mass of the electron a certain amount and the attraction between protons and electrons being a certain amount and the gravitational pull being a certain amount. God could have not made it any different because he just can't do it. God can't do it. Oh, poor God. Yeah, the internet can cause a lot of religions as well as squash them. Luke Barnes, call in. Yeah, Luke Barnes, if you ever hear this, you can call in. I've had a couple of textual conversations with Luke Barnes in the past. Got him to admit something. I forget what it was, but it made me smile and chuckle inside. Doug, how do you personally answer the morality argument? Thank you for asking Costa Kim Productions. When I think of the morality argument, I think of William Lane Craig's version, and he says, he lines it out as if there is no God, then there's no objective morality. There is objective morality, therefore there's a God. Something like that. But the way you squash the moral argument very quickly is just ask, is it possible to have an objective morality other than from your God, William Lane Craig? And you know what he'll say? He'll say, probably not. Or he might just flat out say, no, you can't. So everything, if the only source of objective morality is William Lane Craig's version of God, then let's call all objective morality of that sort God morality. Now we replace it into the premises. If there is no God, there's no God morality. There is God morality, therefore God exists. Yeah, that's powerful, isn't it? I mean, that just is science. That just makes sense. Why do we care about objective morality anyway? Lucas, that's a great question. The reason why I think a lot of theists, this is my own opinion, the reason why a lot of theists care about objective morality is because it gives them the gravitas, the oomph. That's the philosophical term, oomph, to say, stop that because God said so. And if you don't have this type of objective morality from a deity, then you can't say, stop that because God said so. It makes humans feel, it can poof their chest out. Yeah, how long? Like my explanation for the moral argument. Frank Turk, does that make sense? Yeah, I thought my explanation of the moral argument made perfect sense. What advantages do you think of your special style of SC has when dealing with theists? Thank you for the question, Matt. Metro. I think my version of SC, which is just basically a type of cognitive coaching, is I am super duper transparent. And since I've been around a while, people know who call in, probably know a little bit about me. So there's no fooling. There could be zero accusation that I'm hiding something, my goals and my intent. No, hey, with my version of SC, I'll look you in the eye and say, my goal is to lead you to hell and have you drop Christianity. So there. Now, that being said, are you willing to talk to me? Put the full armor of God on and come on and talk. And then I'll ask questions that get to the root of the belief, which is more the SE part. Oh, yeah. Hey,
man! This makes sense!
Yeah, it was still muted from the troll. But he's still funny to look at. Gert Van Meel asked, Doug, how would you respond to the Pascal wager argument? I would look if a theist were to bring the Pascal's wager argument to me, I would look him in the eye and said, you do know that only atheists go to heaven, right? Why are you risking everything? It's been revealed to me that only atheists go to heaven. That's just crazy talk, Doug. We got a text that says otherwise. Oh, you want me to write it down and then you believe me? if it's true that there's a God out there and he rewards people who don't believe in him due to insufficient evidence, and that reward is heaven if you want to live forever, if you only want to live for 500 years, so be it. Christians, why are you risking this? And if you believe in God, I tell you, you're risking hell. Christians are risking hell anyhow, because they, according to Jews, Christians are idolaters, committing the biggest sin ever. Jews listening, Orthodox Jews and conservative Muslims at least, agree with what I'm about to say. Christians, you will burn and fry, from the Muslim point of view, or you will not inherit in type of resurrection, whatever, into a good place, at least from some Jewish perspectives, because you believe a man is God. I'm talking about Trinitarian Christians. Why are you risking this? My goodness. So you can just give counterexamples where the Pascal's wager just falls apart so quickly. Unfortunately, so many Christians don't think that way, and it's impossible for them to think that way because they've just been in a bubble all their life, and they can't even imagine that another worldview could be correct and theirs incorrect, and that a worldview that is maybe correct has a consequence of hell. And so we're left with putting your chips on the thousands of different choices, and some of those choices could have a hell way worse than the Christian hell. So anyhow, Pascal's wager is like, it's for people who are scared. Frisian says, my oldest sister did a Pascal wager on me. I said the same thing to her. She was flabbergasted. Oh, good. That's the expression you want, flabbergasted. If you gave her the atheist only go to heaven spiel, if she doesn't buy that, go to, you do know that you're sinning every time you worship Jesus, right? There is a God out there, but he hates you for what you're doing. I'm assuming your sister's a Christian. Could be wrong. By the way, there's Christians listening right now who I'm saying stuff, and inside their internal being, they're cringing. They're kind of like, no, this is not right. I need to say something. And all you have to do is, see, there's the firmament. The firmament is right there. See where my finger disappears? That's the firmament. All you need is to type in what's in the firmament, and you'll come into atheist heaven. I don't know why Mr. T popped in. Let's try it again.
Shut up, fool!
Yeah. That's what a lot of Christians are saying right now to me. My family always goes to either Pascal's wager or how could the universe life come from nothing? Yeah, I would ask them, what if the universe is eternal? Not our universe, but the universe with a capital U, the cosmos. Would you still believe in God if it were true? In fact, even couch it this way. What if there is a God and the universe is eternal? Past, present, it doesn't make sense, but always existed. Coinciding with this deity. Wouldn't that be cool? Hey, thank you for showing up. Aliki Ajidagba. Nice to catch you live once again. Doug, is it better to reply to say the universe is not fine-tuned for life? Instead, it's the other way. Life fine-tuned the universe. Yeah, I see. This is the sort of like the puddle argument, right? The puddle looks at itself. Oh, the water looks at itself and says, "Oh, this puddle is just finely tuned for me." I think that's what you're getting at. I would also, with the fine-tuning argument, I would also highlight the fact that the inefficiency of the universe. And I know the counter arguments. You don't have to tell me. I know what Hugh Ross says to this argument. But to me, this is very powerful. if the universe is fine-tuned for life and only 0.001% of the universe has life in it, can we not say it's fine? It's not well fine-tuned? It's maybe bad-tuned? Or another way to put it, if we knew for a fact that 50% of the universe has intelligent life in it, wouldn't that universe be more finely tuned than our universe for life? If you can get the theists to say yes to that, then they're not going to come out and say it, but they're internally going to say, okay, I believe I get it. If we were just a little closer to the sun, we'd burn up, but just a little farther, we'd freeze. I get all that. But Doug has a point. It's like, maybe I'm just thinking of this in terms of us. But if I take the whole universe as a whole, it's like, really, God, really? You really needed all this dark matter? 96% of the universe is just basically close to 0 Kelvin? Really? And hundreds and millions of years to make life and billions of years to make rocks and stuff and planets and suns? And really? You really had to give this appearance? Come on, God, really? That's the way you need to talk with even the Luke Barnes in this world. By the way, I think most philosophical arguments are used as a justification to believe a man rose from the dead, or that a man split the moon in two, or that a man appeared to a guy in 1800s in the United States. Come on, Christians. Come on, Muslims. Hey, Muslims. There's a Muslim listening out there. I'm sure of it. Oh, and happy birthday. There's 369 people watching right now. That means it's one person's birthday listening right now. Whoever you are, happy birthday. Have you ever had any responses to, do you think heaven is up? I don't think I've actually heard anyone respond to this question. I think most Christians, when they hear, it's not really a question, but when I make the comment that heaven's up because Jesus ascended into the clouds, into heaven, I think Christians just view that as silliness and mocking. Does the idea of aliens taken seriously freak you out at all? Not one bit. Very little freaks me out, to be honest. I'm dead inside. Who cares about aliens? I've never seen one. Josh Howard, shame on you. Just look at any politician. Most of them are aliens. That's just science. My friend Cam Spires, I don't know if you remember him. He's been on a few times. He made the interesting note that the Ascension is incredibly important. You know, the scene where Jesus rises up above sea level into the clouds. And here's why it's extremely important. Think about this. This is brilliant by Cam. Why don't we have records of Jesus performing miracles when he was in his 40s, 50s, 60s? Why? Now, the answer to that question, according to many Christians, would be, well, because he went up into heaven. Right? But there's another explanation. Because he never rose from the dead. So we got two competing hypotheses here. The reason why we don't hear about the things Jesus did when he was in his 40s, 50s, and 60s is because he wasn't here. So not only is the resurrection important to explain this, that he had to be alive to do stuff in the 40s and 50s, 60s. Not only is the resurrection extremely important, but the ascension is even more important. Because if he didn't ascend into heaven, if he died a natural life, then we would have records of the things he did in his 40s and 50s and 60s, but we don't. So now here's Cam's main point. What's the minimal facts for the ascension? We have minimal facts for the resurrection. We can use inference to the best explanation for the resurrection using the data. But what's the minimal facts for the Ascension? And I tell you, you'll be hard-pressed to find any New Testament historian come up with some minimal facts for the Ascension. And I made this point on the other live stream, and you'll be hard-pressed to find any New Testament historians making some type of minimal facts for the existence of Satan. And I would posit that the belief in Satan supersedes the belief in Jesus, because if there is no Satan, if we don't have good reason to believe Satan exists, you lose the concept of evil, of sin in the world, of a sinful nature, depravity, redemption. Many of the stories in the Bible go away. It becomes just a house of cards. Think about it. Why would Peter deny Jesus? Asked Beat Guzman. It makes for a great tension in a story, does it not? Of being seen as a person who denied someone and then makes a radical change in their life and now accepts it. And I also think it has parallels, some mimesis to Old Testament stuff, but I don't know at the top of my head. Thank you for the donation, Leek. I don't know how to say your last name. It's pronounced Leke. Oh, Leke. Also, I love your work, Doug. Carry on doing Satan's work. Well, thank you very much for the donation, Leke. You're running out of time, theists. I'm sad. I'm lonely that you're not calling in. I'm going to probably end the stream just shortly before 2 because I have to pick up my daughter at school. I homeschool her, but she goes also to a brick and mortar school 2 days a week. I think if we did discover alien life, there'd be more Christians who reject evolution via common sense come to accept it. I bet you that would be true. Do you agree with Gary Habermas's minimal facts? There's the different versions of it. There's like at least 4 that the disciples had experiences and their belief, but there used to be the tomb was empty, not anymore. That he was crucified. Yeah, I agree with that. Do the disciples have experiences? I would say yes, but it could be only 1 or 2. So some of them yes, some of them no. The problem is with the minimal facts, there's a lot of Christians who don't like the minimal facts. They like the maximal facts. These are Christians like the Tim McGrews of the world. They poo-poo minimal facts because you have to look at the whole thing in order to build a model of why we can trust any of this. See, you take one minimal fact that Gary Habermas espouses, there's like thousands of facts underlying it, girding it up, undergirding, supporting it. And if you doubt those other ones, then you can doubt the minimal fact itself. Like, I think a lot of Christians would be shocked to hear that there are many New Testament historians who doubt that there were 12 disciples. Like, really? They doubt that? Yeah, they do. I don't know how many, but there's definitely some. And these are not just, I think even Dale Allison would doubt that. Maybe he wouldn't. If a biblical God existed, it would be every human's duty to overthrow it. Well, how would you overthrow an all-powerful deity? Oh, with your free will, that's how. Because keep in mind, this is a very important point. The power of free will, according to non-Calvinist Christians, is stronger than the Holy Spirit. I'll say that again. Your free will is stronger than the Holy Spirit. Because if God wants to save you, a sinner, he can't, according to the non-Calvinist point of view. Your free will is stronger more powerful than the Holy Spirit. What percentage of Christians can name all 12 disciples? Oh, that's a good question. I think it's very small. I think a lot of them would say this. In fact, I remember being in graduate school and making someone a bet. I bet a Christian, I bet you can't name half of the disciples. And he said, sure, I can. He said, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. And I said, well, you got 2. What? No, I said 4. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John were disciples. Now, this was a Christian in graduate school. And I didn't argue with him. I just said, how much you want to bet? And I think I bet him $20 that only 2 of the 4 he named were disciples. And he took the bet, but he never paid me, the little scumbag. And it's a typical cognitive dissonance where they knew in the end, he knew I was right and he was wrong, but he could not admit it. He somehow twisted, well, what do you exactly mean by disciples? They were followers. And it's like, it went down that road. And it's like, thank you for the donation, Matt Metro. You make me laugh, Doug. Well, I'm glad to do it. That's why I'm here, to bring a little joy in the world and a little sadness. There were 13 disciples. You're right. 500 pine points to Paul Guy Bate. You're correct, because Judas died and they replaced him. Very good. You make me so proud. What was the name of Judas's replacement for 500 pine points? 500 pine points. Who can first one to say what the name of Judas's replacement? I got to remember, make sure I was right. Do I ever go to church sometimes? No, I haven't been to church in a decade or 2. Matthews is correct. Who was the first one? Paul Guy Bate. Oh, you got like an easy 1,000 pine points. You got 500 for making the comment and 500 for saying who it was. Congratulations. I think you were the first one. Yeah, you were. So Cameron Bertuzzi, what do you think of the fact that no theist wants to call in and talk to me?
Yeah, that's really bad. That's really, really bad. To me, this was flagrant.
Yeah, it's very flagrant that Christians don't, and Muslims don't have the I don't know, can I say testosterone? Enough testosterone? Like, is it a matter of hormone imbalance? You know, there's doctors out there. I'm talking to you male Christians right now, and maybe female Christians, whatever floats your boat, and maybe Muslims and Mormons. There's doctors out there that can replace the testosterone you have lost. And then maybe you have enough courage. There's liquid courage. I guess you could drink before you come on. But I don't want you to slur your words. I'm an atheist and have no minutes left on my phone. Bye-bye, Foggy Bait. We'll see you in atheist heaven. I don't think the female Christians want that much testosterone. Well, you know, I think I've seen studies where testosterone for females has a lot of great benefits. Like, if I could be wrong about this, but I think if you are a female with terrible menstrual cramps, if you have testosterone replacement therapy, can help ease that pain, the monthly pain. Now, we've hit a new milestone where we're talking about menstruation on the PineCreek channel. Oh, you're a theist. Okay. Are you allowed in the year 2021 to talk about menstruation? Are Catholics cannibals if they truly believe in transubstantiation? Asked Paul Nordal. Oh, I like that name. Yes, they are. Roman Catholics are definitely symbolic cannibals, but for 20% of them, they're literal cannibals. Oh, hang on. No, nobody's calling me. Finest Malin wants to call in. Well, call in then. I see nobody calling in. The 13th disciple was chosen by casting lots. Yes, you are correct. A lot of times, a lot of decisions were made by rolling of the die. Or no, democracy, I guess. John V. asked, PineCreek, Doug, what do you think about this question? If you were to believe Jesus did not rise from the dead, in which God would you believe now? Oh, I like that. Okay, I got to be careful here. Hi, Mo, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, he's adjusting stuff. Adjusting the headphones. Have I talked to you before? I think I've talked to you before,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I've called in before, and then you agreed with me. It was about critical race theory and then reparations, and you agreed with it. You just said that you didn't know how it would be applied.
Yeah.
We had that conversation.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So and then you kind of asked me a little bit about Islam, and I said I'm not too sure in terms of specifics, and then we kind of left it there.
Okay, what do you want to talk about today?
Sure. So I asked you a question yesterday, and then you kind of didn't really answer it. It was on my food jamming account where I quoted you, and then where you said the experience, atheist and virtue signaling, and then you then said dumb people kind of experience. I've forgotten. Wait, let me actually pull the quote up. 1 sec.
On what platform?
So this is said. So we need to listen to the experience of a certain black lady. No, you don't. What if the black lady is an idiot?
Oh yeah. I remember that.
So and so I asked you that question yesterday, and then you doubled down on it yesterday.
Oh, I'll triple down on it again.
But then, okay, so can I ask you a question then? Can a dumb black lady experience racism?
Sure.
And can she share that racism with you? And the experience of that racism?
Sure.
Okay, so what's the issue then?
Oh, because the slogan, the catchphrase is that we need to amplify or elevate or listen to, that someone has it almost sounds like someone has the right to be heard or needs to be heard. And I say no to that.
Why do you say no to that? Do you not want to live in a society where people's grievances are heard?
I don't think it's a demand. I don't think it's a right.
I don't think people demand it.
Okay, then we're agreed.
Yeah. I don't think people. I think people.
I think some people do though.
Yeah.
Sort of like the personal pronoun thing. I demand that you call me he or she or it or whatever.
I think it's more so a case of respect, and now that's a whole other thing. If you say,
yeah,
some people don't deserve respect.
Yeah, I totally believe that some people don't deserve respect.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. I've heard you say that, and that's obviously.
Do you agree with that?
I think I tend to treat everyone with respect because that's how I wish to be treated. I know it's the golden rule and everything, but it's just I feel like if you give everyone the benefit of the doubt and you start like that.
Well, the thing is, like my definition of respect, I think might be different than many others. Like a lot of people equate respect to being civil. To me, they're different.
Okay, yeah. So I tend to actually mean that. Yeah, you're right. So what do you mean by respect? What's your kind of definition?
It's like a deep admiration for something that they've done.
I think that's another form of respect. Yeah, you're right. So
yeah. So and same with love. Like people don't deserve my love, deserve my respect. They have to earn it. It's what they do.
But you see, it's weird because we've got these labels and definitions, but they seem so fuzzy sometimes because you say, for instance, admiration. What does admiration mean, really? Like
it's like this sense of like, wow, look what they have done. and look how much work they put into this and got results. It's like, I respect that.
Do you have a qualifier for that, or is it just whenever you feel that?
I think for different people, they'll have different areas that they respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone might work 10 years on a book on a topic that I just don't care about. Now, so the term respect in that case, they wouldn't get my respect, but maybe if I cared about what they did, then they would.
I see. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, absolutely. So it's more of, if you care about something, you tend to more likely respect someone in terms of.
Well, not only care, but they have to do a good job at whatever they're doing. Like someone, I can care about a topic that another person cares about, but if they're like, there's a lot of atheists who might do a terrible job at interviewing a theist, and I can say, I don't respect how you did that.
Okay,
but I can still share in their common goal or their belief system, or not lack of belief system, or no belief system.
Okay, and so just going back to the experience thing, where you said you triple down on it. What is it exactly? So I know the demand aspect is one part you've discussed, and I understand that bit. Is there anything else apart from the demand part, where you said people feel like the demand to be heard?
No, I think that's basically it.
Okay, you think that's okay. I think that's
it's basically this whole idea. I believe in rights and I believe in responsibilities, but I lean way more responsibility than rights.
What do you mean by responsibility than rights? See, this is a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, it's top down, bottom up versus top down.
But they say culture changes only from top down. Like there's the whole notion of like there's a lot of studies saying culture. I haven't got like citations right now, unfortunately, but like
Joe Biden didn't say that. Grassroots level, bottom up, small donations, one at a time, not this top down big corporations. Are you a corporate lover?
So I think the idea of individuals changing society is really a myth, and it tends to be the top down approach that tends to dictate what the culture tends to gear to. So for instance, abortion, right? Think about it. What was the percentage initially when it got passed through in America that most people were against abortion? I'm pretty sure it wasn't the majority. I can't remember. So for example, the thing that, topics like that, I don't know. So because I know you call yourself leaning right, but I've not seen you really adopt right social conservative values.
What am I supposed to adopt as a right?
So, for example, are you for abortion, against abortion? What's your stance on abortion?
I'm mostly against it.
You're mostly against abortion.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I think there comes a point where the fetus does feel pain, and I think you can do harm, and that there should be some acknowledgement of what will be in the future. Plus, I know this doesn't happen very often, but the whole concept of location, if you kill a baby 10 seconds after it's out of the uterus versus 10 seconds before, it's really hard to make and I know this almost never happens, but it's really hard with that thought experiment to say, oh, one's right and one's wrong. Does that make sense?
But if you go that far into it, then why don't you just take I don't know if you heard of the philosopher called David Benatar, is it? And he's an anti-natalist, and his whole thing is, we should be the last of the human generation, and by bringing the children into the world, they suffer more pain ultimately. So therefore, you shouldn't even have children, and we should be the last generation. And this whole idea of valuing art and stuff like that.
Are you the person who asked me those anti-natalist questions a while back?
No. The only time I called you was in regards to the CRT question.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I have mixed feelings.
Because I feel like if you go to that fetus route where you're talking about where you're giving that hypothetical, I feel like that would kind of just inevitably lead down that road to where he's just saying,
I think
don't even bother having children.
I think we evolved to reproduce. It's obvious.
No, I don't think he disagrees with that as well.
So what people who are anti-natalists are basically saying to rebel against your programming, and which in itself, can you rebel against your programming?
He says absolutely we can. He says, we can be the last, and he says there's no reason why we can't. Think about all all the suffering, pollution we cause, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he said it's very easy for us not to do it and sort of thing. So I think, I think the sort of answer you gave kind of leads down that route in terms of it would work on his sort of thing of, then why not just go the full throttle and not have kids?
I got 3 minutes left because I got to pick up my daughter. But I would say that I would be against anti-natalism, but I would also be against most reproduction. So I wouldn't say that we should completely cut out all reproduction.
That sounds so elitist. Like, oh, I'm just gonna select a few. You know what you're sounding like? You sounded like James White with the Holy Elect. Like,
why does that sound elitist? Doesn't that sound compassionate?
So what? It depends on so you're gonna pick the qualifiers. Are you the one that decides? Oh right,
no,
this group of people can.
No.
Oh, okay. So who's gonna pick?
No one. The people themselves to choose.
That will never work.
Why not? Now who's being elitist? You're saying people are not capable of gaining more information and learning through education and sexual education to decide whether it's to weigh the pros and cons of their situation and whether or not they should reproduce. Are you saying people are incapable of coming to those conclusions?
Well, I think the drive to reproduce is so strong. It kind of
the drive for sex is strong, not the drive for reproduction.
Well, yeah.
There's a difference.
Is there a message? I mean, I'm not well versed in sort of reproduction.
How old are you? Do I need to tell you about the birds and the bees? Well, okay, so there's
not literal reproduction, but I'm just talking about in terms of the sort of biological effects. And
there's many types of sex, and only one of them involves a male organ going into a female organ.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So you don't need to to be abstinent or anything, not to have fun. But I would say that if a person knowingly reproduces into a culture or a situation in life that has a very high probability that will lead to suffering of the infant, I would say that person has done an immoral thing.
But you see, David Bentner would just extrapolate that and say, it doesn't matter if you're just talking about, say, for instance, in my home country of Somalia, it could be anywhere. It says in the UK where I live, where I'm born and raised, he would say it doesn't matter where it is, it should be for everyone.
Because they're suffering everywhere? Is that his argument?
They're suffering, yeah, that's it. And
well, I agree there's suffering everywhere, but there's different levels. Like, would you rather suffer in Somalia from malnutrition or suffer in Arizona because your car doesn't start?
Yeah, and so he says that all suffering is bad. He doesn't like that whole idea of trying to measure stuff. But I've just got one quick question before you go. Okay. Do you agree with James White when he says white supremacist now just means being white? Because that's what he said in his latest video.
I would say from CRT holders, I would agree. I would say many, if not most, CRT proponents would say white supremacy and just being white are synonymous. Am I wrong?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to speak for them, so I don't know. But okay, excluding them, would you agree or disagree?
Excluding who?
The CRT. Who you think?
Oh yeah, excluding the CRTs, probably not. I think that's why you see so much pushback against. Now I got to distinguish between the theory and the proponents of the theory, but the proponents of the theory that I've listened to or I've heard or that the media promulgates talk like that. And so yeah, I would say they would equate the two.
But you don't equate the two. So there's a difference.
In fact, I played a video. With CRTs, I would equate the two from what I've heard, but the nons maybe not. But I have a video, an old video where I had a CRT proponent basically say all people are racist, or did he say all white people are racist? I forget, but I think he said all white people are racist. And so my response to that is, okay, so what? So what if someone's racist? Why is that bad? And get the person, the CRT proponent, the holder, to actually articulate why exactly is racism bad? Could racism actually be good? And this causes people to cringe. But really, if you truly believe that some races, if that exists, is superior to others, could you not use that superiority to help those who are not superior?
Well, people
do, right? And a lot of them are on the left.
but so But do you acknowledge that even if you don't believe in race, that people are affected by race? I know you have to go. Apologies.
Yeah. So quickly, what was the last question?
So it seems to me that I don't know if you seem to believe in the idea of race.
It's a spectrum. It's sort of like gender to me. It's like you definitely can see certain characteristics of humans that can be put in a box compared to others, but there's a spectrum. Like my kids are mocha colored. Like my wife is from Trinidadian descent. I'm from like Eastern or European descent. So it's like there's a spectrum.
Sure, but can people suffer from the effects of racism?
Of course.
Okay, so then
but
exist.
Let me ask you: can people be benefited by racism?
People are, and it depends, and it can happen to any.
No. I mean, let's say the minority person in racism. Can someone be benefited by racism?
Absolutely, there are countries. Like, for instance, in Syria, there was what's his name? Al-Assad was in a minority group of races.
Yeah. So the next time someone calls you a racist, I don't know if that's ever happened. Just say, yeah, but I'm a good racist.
Okay, I guess we'll leave it there.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
I made you laugh. We'll end it with that. Take care.
All right, then, bye-bye.
Okay. I'll take a quick look at the chat. What's going on here? Okay. Now I'm going to get tons of hateful emails and comments and from that last conversation. Thank you, Mo. Look what you did. It's all your fault. But I can take it. Why is that happening? Exube 3013 says, I'll try the good racist thing. That will get a reaction. Yeah, here's my advice to anybody. Anytime someone calls you a racist, just say, but I'm a good racist. Thanks for doing your thing and being honest, Doug. Well, thank you, Justin. Yeah, I race my bike. That's the type of racist I am. On a bicycle. I used to have a mustache, Sanjeev. Love your thinking, says Danny. 3648. What? I'm not getting hate? Where's my hate? God is poking his hand through. Hillary emails. Your name sounds familiar to me. Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you think your eternal deadness is why you are a Republican? I'm not a Republican. I'm Canadian. I can't vote. If you sympathize more with other people, would you be a Democrat? Probably not. I think it's not because of sympathy or compassion. Although I do lean that compassion blinds people. Too much compassion is terrible. You heard it here. It blinds you. It prevents you from thinking rationally. It's the feel sorriness for attitude. I come from the perspective where I treat people like adults. Unless they tell me, treat me like a kid. And maybe some people will say that to me. Doug, just please treat me like a kid. Poof. My apologies to all the theists out there who didn't call in but wanted to. But I have to go pick up my daughter.